The cosmic summons, when the sun challenges the god of expansion. There are moments in time when the universe does not whisper, it roars. And this is one of those moments. Somewhere beyond the veil of the visible sky, at the sacred tension point between fire and fate, the radiant sun forms a powerful square to Jupiter, the great amplifier, the cosmic gambler, the bringer of both fortune and folly. This is not a gentle alignment. This is a divine confrontation, a test of how boldly you are willing to live your truth. And as this transit ignites, at a critical degree where destiny sharpens its edge, you may feel it already, that restless pulse in your chest, that knowing that something within you can no longer stay small. The sun, the eternal symbol of your identity, your essence, your sacred I am, now stands in a dynamic square to Jupiter, the planet of expansion, belief, and higher vision. This is not harmony, it is friction, sacred friction, the kind that births stars, the kind that demands evolution. It is as if the universe is placing a mirror before your soul and asking, will you rise into the version of yourself you keep dreaming about, or will you retreat into the comfort of who you've already outgrown? And in that question, there is no neutrality. There is only choice. You see, Jupiter does nothing halfway. Wherever it touches, it magnifies. It expands both the light and the shadow. And under this square, it stretches your desires beyond the borders of your current reality. It tempts you with visions of more success, more abundance, more recognition, more life. But the sun demands authenticity. It asks, is this expansion aligned with your truth, or is it driven by ego disguised as ambition? And here in this cosmic tension lies your initiation. This is the energy of the high-stakes jackpot, but not the kind handed out carelessly. No, this is the kind that requires courage, risk, a willingness to bet on yourself when there are no guarantees. Because the square is not here to make things easy, it is here to make things real. It pushes you to the edge of your comfort zone and dares you to leap. And for those who have been quietly preparing, healing, shedding old identities, this leap becomes a breakthrough. You may notice the signs in subtle ways, a sudden urge to speak your truth, an opportunity that feels too big too soon, but somehow perfectly timed, a decision that terrifies you, yet feels like destiny calling your name. This is not coincidence. This is alignment through tension. This is the universe rearranging the chessboard of your life, placing you in a position where you must choose growth over fear. And yet, not everyone will answer the call, because Jupiter also brings illusion, overconfidence, excess, the temptation to chase expansion without grounding. Some will reach too far, too fast, mistaking impulse for intuition. But those who pause, who listen, who align their inner truth with outer action, these are the ones who unlock the true jackpot. Not just external success, but inner expansion, a shift in identity, a rebirth of purpose. Right now, you are standing at a threshold. The sun illumines who you are. Jupiter reveals who you could become. And between those 2 points lies a sacred tension, a doorway. You can feel it, can't you? That pull towards something greater, that quiet voice that says, there is more for you, if you are willing to claim it. But before you step through, before the next wave of this cosmic initiation unfolds, you must ask yourself, are you ready to go bigger than you ever have before?
Because what comes next will not ask for permission. It will ask for transformation.
The trial of expansion, where destiny demands courage. There is a moment just before transformation when everything inside you begins to tremble, not from weakness, but from the sheer magnitude of what your soul is about to become. This is where you are now. The sun, blazing in its sovereign authority, forms an exact 90-degree square to Jupiter, the sacred angle of tension, the alchemical fire where pressure becomes power. This is not a passive transit. This is initiation through intensity. And as these two celestial forces collide across the zodiac, they awaken something ancient within you, something that remembers what it means to rise. Imagine the sun standing at a critical degree, an anaretic whisper of urgency, the final breath before rebirth, while Jupiter expands from its throne, stretching the boundaries of what you believe is possible. Together, they create a field of amplified truth. Every desire you've suppressed, every dream you've delayed, every version of yourself you've been too afraid to embody, it all rises to the surface now, asking to be seen. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. But here is the paradox of this transit. The more you are called to expand, the more your fears will try to anchor you in place. This is the trial. Jupiter will show you the mountain, but it is the sun that asks if you have the will to climb it. And in this sacred tension, your identity begins to fracture, not in destruction, but in revelation. The old self, the one that played small, that waited for validation, that hid behind doubt, begins to dissolve. And in its place, something radiant starts to emerge. This is where the archetypes awaken within you. The phoenix rising not because it wants to, but because it must. The warrior stepping forward not because the path is clear, but because the calling is undeniable. The seer recognizing that this moment was written in the stars long before you were born. You are not a coincidence in this timing. You are chosen by your own evolution. And yet, this is also where many turn back, because the square does not comfort, it confronts. It brings opportunities that feel too big, too risky, too uncertain. It whispers, "Say yes," while your mind screams, "What if you fail?" But listen closely, because beneath the noise of fear, there is a deeper voice, a quieter knowing, a soul-level certainty that says, "This is your moment." 3 signs in particular feel this activation like lightning in their bones. The fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, stand at the edge of explosive growth. Aries, with the sun igniting your identity, you are being asked to redefine who you are at the core. Leo, your ruler is under pressure, forcing you to step into a bigger stage whether you feel ready or not. And Sagittarius, with Jupiter as your guiding force, this square shakes your beliefs, pushing you to expand beyond every limitation you've ever accepted. But this energy is not limited to signs. It is encoded in the collective field. Anyone who has been doing the inner work, who has faced their shadows, who has dared to outgrow their past, you are being called forward now. This is your test of alignment. Will you act from your highest truth or retreat into familiar patterns? Because here's the secret the universe doesn't say out loud. The jackpot is not just material. It is identity expansion. It is becoming the version of yourself who can hold more, receive more, be more. And that requires risk. Not reckless risk, but soul-aligned courage, the kind that says, even if I fall, I will fall forward into my becoming. You may feel stretched, you may feel uncertain, but that tension you're experiencing, it's not a sign to stop. It's a sign that you are growing beyond the limits of who you used to be. And growth, real growth, is never comfortable.
It is sacred discomfort. It is the breaking of old shells. It is the moment the caterpillar dissolves before it becomes the butterfly. So ask yourself, what is the opportunity in front of you right now that feels both terrifying and undeniable? What is the version of you that is trying to emerge if only you would say yes? Because the universe is not testing you to see if you will fail. It is testing you to see if you will finally choose yourself. And what comes next will reveal exactly what happens when you do.
And now you arrive at the edge, the moment where tension becomes transformation, where the square between the Sun and Jupiter is no longer just pressure, it becomes ignition. This is the sacred turning point, the instant where your soul steps forward and says, enough waiting, enough shrinking, I am ready. The cosmos has been preparing you for this. Every delay, every lesson, every moment of doubt, it was all part of the architecture of your becoming. And now, under this charged alignment, something clicks into place. The Sun, radiant and unapologetic, demands that you stand fully in your truth. Jupiter, vast and infinite, stretches your path beyond what your mind can comprehend. Together, they create a portal, a high-frequency opening where timelines shift, where reality bends in response to your courage. This is where the high-stakes jackpot reveals its deeper meaning. It is not luck, it is alignment meeting action. It is the moment when your internal expansion becomes so powerful that the external world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. Opportunities accelerate, conversations carry weight, decisions ripple outward faster than before. It feels like life is speeding up, but in truth, you are finally moving at the speed of your soul. But listen carefully, because this is where discernment becomes your greatest ally. Jupiter can magnify everything, including illusions. It can make something appear bigger, brighter, more promising than it truly is. And so the question is not just will you go big, but will you go true? Will you choose expansion that is rooted in your authenticity, or will you chase something that only feeds the ego's hunger for validation? The Sun does not compromise. It does not perform. It shines from its core. And under this square, it burns away anything that is not real. False ambitions, misaligned desires, paths that look impressive but feel empty. All of it begins to crumble. And in that collapse, you are left with a single, undeniable truth. What is truly meant for you will not require you to abandon yourself to receive it. This is the rebirth, the moment the phoenix does not just rise, but understands why it had to burn. You begin to see your life not as a series of random events, but as a sacred narrative unfolding with precision. Every challenge was sharpening you. Every setback was redirecting you. And now you are no longer asking, why is this happening to me? You are declaring, this is happening for me. For those three signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, the breakthrough becomes visible. Aries, you may feel a surge of clarity about who you are becoming, as if a new identity is locking into place. Leo, your light cannot be hidden anymore. Recognition finds you when you stop dimming yourself. Sagittarius, your belief system undergoes a quantum shift, opening doors you once thought were impossible. But again, this is not limited to signs. This is a frequency. And anyone who resonates with it, anyone who dares to step into it, becomes part of the expansion. And here is where the universe places the final key in your hands. Choice. Not fate, not chance, choice.
Because even now, at this peak of energy, you can still choose to hesitate, to doubt, to wait for more certainty. But the window is open, the portal is active, and the longer you stand at the threshold without moving, the more you feel the tension pulling at your soul. So what does it look like to say yes? It looks like taking the step before you feel ready. It looks like speaking the truth you've been rehearsing in silence. It looks like claiming the opportunity that scares you, because deep down you know it is aligned. It looks like trusting that the universe is not asking you to leap blindly, but to rise consciously. Because this is not just a moment. This is a turning point in your evolution. And what happens next will anchor this expansion into your reality in ways you cannot yet imagine.
The breakthrough point. When the soul chooses expansion over fear. And now, the energy settles, but not into stillness, into embodiment, into truth made real. Because what you have just moved through is not just a transit, it is an initiation that has altered the architecture of your identity. The sun has revealed you to yourself. Jupiter has stretched you beyond your former limits, and what remains is the version of you who said yes. This is where the reward begins, not as something falling from the sky, but as something rising from within you and magnetizing the outer world to meet it. The jackpot was never separate from you. It was encoded in your willingness to expand, to risk, to trust. And now, as the square begins to release its tension, the energy doesn't disappear. It integrates, it stabilizes, it becomes part of who you are. You may notice it in subtle shifts at first, a new level of confidence that doesn't need validation, a clarity in your decisions that feels almost effortless, doors that once seemed locked now opening with unexpected ease. This is Jupiter's blessing, but only because you answered the sun's call. You didn't just dream of a bigger life, you aligned with it. And alignment is the true currency of the universe. But understand this, the reward is not just what you receive, it is who you have become capable of being. Because the universe does not give you more until you become more, not in worth, but in capacity. And through this transit, your capacity has expanded. You can hold more success without losing yourself. You can step into visibility without shrinking. You can embrace opportunity without fear of outgrowing it. This is the real win. The archetype now shifts. You are no longer the phoenix in flames. You are the sovereign rising from the ashes, the one who knows their power, not because they were told, but because they lived it. The one who understands that expansion is not a one-time event, but a continuous dance with the cosmos. And as you stand in this new version of yourself, you begin to see something profound. The universe did not push you to go big to test you. It pushed you because it knew you were ready. And for those three signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, the manifestation becomes undeniable. Aries, your boldness has rewritten your path. Leo, your authenticity has become your magnet. Sagittarius, your belief has become your bridge to new realities. But again, this is not limited. This is a frequency now available to anyone who chose courage over comfort, truth over illusion, expansion over fear. So what do you do now? You continue, you build, you trust the momentum you've created. Because this is not the end of the journey, it is the beginning of a new timeline. One where you no longer ask for permission to grow.
one where you recognize that every challenge is an invitation to expand again, one where you remember again and again that the universe is not outside of you, it is moving through you. And somewhere in the quiet space after the transformation, you feel it, a deep, unshakable knowing that you are no longer the person you were before this moment. You are bigger, bolder, aligned, and the life you once imagined from a distance is now beginning to recognize you as its equal. This is the reward. This is the rebirth. This is you becoming the one who receives.